Hey everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us as always is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Well, greetings and a heartfelt salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you live from right here at the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California. Watch some great football this weekend. Both the teams I wanted to win won, but I don't know who to cheer for in the Super Bowl, which is really unfortunate.
And also here, writer-director John Schnepp.
I'm not in love, so don't forget it.
Again, you had to be here before the show started.
I'm going through Tuesday.
Also here, AMC's Mark Ellis.
I was at Supercuts, and that was the song that was playing. And they also played this classic by The Outfield. Josie's on vacation far away.
The box office reports are in, and it was a record-smashing weekend for the new Clint Eastwood movie, American Sniper. The film made just under $90 million on its opening weekend, obliterating the January record for biggest opening weekend by more than doubling the previous record held by Kevin Hart's Ride Along. In one weekend, Sniper became the biggest box office hit of all the Best Picture nominees and has made more than Birdman, The Theory of Everything, Boyhood, and Whiplash combined. In second place was Kevin Hart's The Wedding Ringer, exceeding its projections by taking in $20 million. In third place was Paddington, also exceeding its projections by bringing in $19 million. In fourth spot is Taken 3, making an additional $14.6 million. And rounding out the top five is Selma, making $8.7 million. Also opening this past weekend was the new Chris Hemsworth film Black Hat, which came in at 10th place, making just $3.8 million on a $70 million budget. John, what stands out to you about this box office report?
Well, I mean, there's three things, but two big ones. Let's start with wow. Like American Sniper, I guess what they say is true about this is why. Everybody says, why release your Oscar potential movies near the end of the year? This is why. This is why. Day one, announced for Best Picture, announced nominated for Best Actor. Day two, release the film. And boom, it just crushed it. If I'm not mistaken, the previous record for January was Ride Along at $41 million. $41 million. This more than doubled it. Doubled it. And normally you hear about crushing records, you think beats it by $5 or $6 million. Crushed it. This doubled the previous record. Insane. And that was actually a pretty telling number that in just one weekend, it has now in total made more than Birdman, all those movies all combined. I mean, that's right. A huge thing. But we don't like to be terribly negative on this show ever, but Black Hat, Michael Mann, Chris Hemsworth. Look, I think we all knew a movie about a hacker who looks like Chris Hemsworth. Right. Yeah, I'm out. I think just right there was like, yeah, I'm out. But I expected it to be in the top six. Like $3.8 million. And the other thing, I'm very happy to see how well Paddington did. This is a really fun film. If you have not seen it, it's worth it yourself. Maybe you want to go by yourself and go alone. Go alone. If you got some buddies who want to score points with them, say, hey, let me watch your kids for a weekend. Take them to go see Paddington. You're really going to like it. But yeah, the number one and the number 10, big things for me. Schnepp, you saw these results. What stands out to you the most?
Yeah, I mean, American Sniper, making $100 million plus in January that's in 4 days. That to me was like, And
for those of you who are confused, why is he saying 100 million plus when we're saying 89? It's because the proper weekend was 89.8 million, something like that. The long 4-day weekend, which you generally don't count, but still the long 4-day weekend, like 107, I think is
that's
the
what I'm talking about. Yeah,
crazy number.
Still insane amounts of cash. I just think it shows that a lot of people wanted to find out this story about, a true story about this guy who was the best sniper on the planet, and unfortunately got killed. I mean, this isn't a spoiler. This is reality, so you should know about this. But I didn't know about it because I didn't know about his life. And, when you find out about it, it is pretty heartbreaking. So I think it's like a weird drama that no one expected it to pop off like this, especially me. Black Hat, yeah, it's kind of embarrassing, but it goes right from the trailer. Like when a minute he's like, a hacker this, and I was like, this is like Swordfish, and it's not Liam Neeson. Sorry, it's like Chris Hemsworth with a gun. Like a hacker and a dude who knows how to fight with a gun, and it just never made sense. If they cut out the word hacker and didn't show him at the computer, I guarantee you it would have made another 20 million. That's just me. I just think it was like when people saw that trailer, you could sniff it. You're like, yeah, fake.
It's just in that trailer when he goes, we need this guy. He's the best hacker there's ever been. And then it cuts to him in prison doing push-ups, looking like Thor. I was like, I've known a lot of hackers.
Yeah.
None of them look like that.
Awkward, strange cuts to the internet. I'm inside the internet. That kind of. We're going through cables. Woo! All that's from the 80s. Don't do that.
Yeah, there was no cheese curls or Mountain Dew Code Red in that jail cell. He's not a great hacker. What shocked me about this weekend was just how much money American Sniper made. I thought it might be number one, but I'm trying to add up all the different ways, all these this confluence of events that could lead up to it making this much money. Like, okay, so it's getting some buzz for the Oscars, and it was nominated for Best Picture, and then Bradley Cooper gets the Best Actor, and it was surprising. I think that because that surprised people, then maybe they're like, oh, maybe let me go check this out. And then there's a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans with nothing better to do this weekend suddenly. There's no way that I expected this to do anywhere close to the business it did. It was shocking to me. Yeah. And Black Hat, I think that Black Hat suffered because not only did it have American Sniper to compete with, but also Taken 3 too. If people wanted to go see an action film, I like Black Hat better than Taken 3, but I think that they're like, oh, well, I know this franchise, or I want to go see the Oscar film. And it was great to see Selma be in the top 5 on the MLK weekend. I thought that was pretty cool.
Definitely.
All right, what's next?
Good news and bad news for those people who are looking forward to the next Snow White and the Huntsman spinoff. First, the bad news. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Walking Dead creator Frank Darabont, who also directed such films as The Shawshank Redemption and The Mist, has left the project, leaving the studio to find a new director. On the good news side, the outlet also reports that actress Emily Blunt is in talks to play the villain in the new film. Blunt starred in last year's Edge of Tomorrow and can currently be seen on AMC screens in Into the Woods. Schnepp, would the addition of Blunt affect your anticipation level for the new Woodsman film?
I'm sorry, Ray, did you pick that picture? Because I can't even think about anything right now. My mind is blanked. What are we talking about? All right, Blunt. Yes, I think they should cast her. She's a great actress, as in we saw in Edge of Tomorrow, and all of her films are so much fun. She's incredible. Frank Darabont leaving the project is a bummer to me because I thought the first Huntsman was boring, and I didn't like it. I'll just be blunt about it. It's like, So anyway, I'm buying Blunt, even though it's not a buy or sell, but I'm bummed that Darabont left because he's an incredible talent. But hey, I hope he gets onto something soon. I want him to lock onto something because, years are going by and I'm not seeing a Darabont movie. So,
Mark?
Yeah, seeing Emily Blunt as a villain is going to be very interesting to me. That's like, okay, let's do that, because I liked her so much as the heroine in Edge of Tomorrow that it's like, well, okay, I guess I could see her bad too. This is neat. What worries me about this film all of a sudden is that Darabont's leaving and Kristen Stewart's not going to be in this one. And I know there's not a lot of Kristen Stewart fans out there, but I think she helped make that movie successful because everybody wanted to see the girl from Twilight in this Snow White film. All of a sudden, she's not there. Chris Hemsworth is going to be the star. And what did Black Hat just do? It's a non-Avengers film with Chris Hemsworth in it. That kind of gives me a little bit of pause all of a sudden. I don't know who they're going to get to replace Darabont, but at least Emily Blunt's going to be in the movie. That's going to be cool.
I'll disagree with you about the Kristen Stewart thing. She was one of the problems for me in the movie.
She wasn't good in the film, but I think that people seeing the movie,
some
because they wanted to see Kristen Stewart in the film. That motivational speech she gave at the end of the film, it's one of the worst I've ever seen.
It reminds me of that Game of War ad that's on TV right now.
With Kate Upton.
That's pretty much what reminds me of that. I'm with you. I'm really bummed. This movie had the director of The Shawshank Redemption was going to direct it. Suddenly there was something to be excited about. So that is a real bummer. Adding Blunt is great. That's huge. And she's wonderful in Into the Woods.
Yeah, she's great.
Despite some of the problems I have with the film, she's actually really good in that. Looking forward, but I'm going to say this. If you're measuring it out, I think the loss of Darabont is a bigger hurt than Blunt is an addition, you know what I mean? So overall, this is, I think, a down day for people looking forward to this movie, but still, it's good that she's in there. I'm a big fan. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Although many people have suspected it, it looks like Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen will not be returning to XMen Apocalypse to reprise their roles as Professor X and Magneto. While speaking with Larry King, Stewart said the following: "It is going to be looking very much at the earlier lives of all our characters, and so I don't think we'll be making an appearance." Mark, buy or sell Stewart's comments?
I gotta sell these for now. I gotta sell this. I buy the fact that they're not going to be stars of the film, but I'm selling the fact that they're not going to be in it at all. I think you're going to see at least a little bit of Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen in this movie. I can't imagine XMen Apocalypse, based on what X-Men Days of Future Past did and how cool it was and how the fans responded to seeing all these different generations of heroes on screen together. I can't imagine we're not going to get at least a shot of them.
I am sadly going to buy these comments, actually. You know, at some point, you do have to move on from McKellen and Stewart. They have served this franchise so well. This franchise, the whole title has been built on their shoulders and what they were able to do. They gave the first X-Men film the legitimacy that comic books films needed at the time, and they carried it all the way to where we are now. But at some point, just including them for the sake of including them is going to feel forced a little bit. And I think they did a great job with Days of Future Past and how they incorporated them in. But now if you're moving forward from that and it's time to move on, Days of Future Past to me felt like the passing of the baton. That now we're going to the new breed, the new actors going to carry this. And at some point you have to move on from it. As a fan, do I want to see these guys in it? You're damn right. Maybe do an X-Men the latter years with X and Magneto in a senior's home 10 years from now.
Still playing chess.
Still playing chess.
Moving pills around with their mind.
I could see an entire stage play of Professor X and Magneto, and they're in character, just on stage, and it's an hour and a half of them playing chess and talking. I could totally buy into that, but yeah, I buy his comments. I guess it's time to move on. Schnepp?
Well, I'm going to sell them for the same reason you're buying them. I think I would like to see a continuation. I feel like the third movie, Apocalypse, is going to be also, like they've already said, is going to be set in the 80s, and obviously Apocalypse is going to be the villain. A lot of new characters are playing, new actors are playing the older characters, but I can't help but think that they're going to have a little shot of Xavier and Wolverine, because they let us go through this kind of time travel situation in X-Men Days of Future Past, and why wouldn't they? This could be a story of like Xavier could be telling Wolverine, because he basically was not himself for like the last 30 years, and
Right.
he's catching Wolverine up. So that's my hope. I'm still hoping that there would be a little.
Fingers still crossed.
Yeah.
Me too. All right, what's next?
We often hear stories about actors and franchises who are looking forward to stepping away from their roles, but not Man of Steel actor Henry Cavill. When recently asked how many more times he's going to play Superman, he said the following: "As many as it takes. I love the character. I love working with Warner Brothers and what they're doing with it. And so, fingers crossed, I'll be able to tell the story for many, many years to come." John Byersell Cavill's comments.
Love them. I buy the comments, because in an age where people who are, nothing frustrates me so much like right now as I got very frustrated with Robert Downey Jr. For I'm a huge Robert Downey Jr. fan, big fan. But as a fan, I was a little bit frustrated with him when it seemed to me like publicly he was forgetting what relaunched his career, and he was forgetting what made him a star again. Talking about, well, maybe I'll come back. We're having negotiations, but it's really refreshing to have a headline star of a major comic book franchise come out and say, I'll play this forever, man. I'll be in as many as they'll let me be in. This is awesome. And when you watch the interview too, there's that enthusiasm in him too. It's like, yep, I'm here. Because he knows what made him big, and he knows what made him a star, and he knows what's making fans happy, and he's reveling in it. I love his comments, so for me it's a buy. Mark?
It's a buy for me, too. I don't know that Henry has as many options as Robert does as far as being in Hollywood and being able to do different kinds of films. I don't know that anybody would want to see him in a movie like The Judge. So I think that at least it shows that he's got a good head on his shoulders. That
Apparently nobody wanted to see Robert Downey Jr.
I was going to say.
It's a very good point. It's a very good point. I think that Cavill's thinking, you know what, I'm not going to go the Brandon Routh route here again. I don't want, because Brandon Routh probably would have loved to have been Superman again. He didn't have the opportunity, and I think that he knows what he can be with this now. Even if Superman doesn't end up being the star of all these films, he still gets to make an appearance, and he still gets to work as an actor. I mean, I think the cooler part is when you see somebody like Hugh Jackman, who does have all these different options, always embrace playing Wolverine. So I don't think it's to that level of, oh, cool, he's saying no to everything else so he can still be Superman. He wants to be Superman because he wants to pay his rent, but I think that it's also nice to see, we have some stability in this franchise.
Yeah, I'm going to buy it too, and mainly because, he has the right attitude about, isn't it cool I get to be Superman? Not many people ever get the chance to play Superman, let alone be in the movie Superman, and that's him. So he's like, bring him on, I'll be in 8 of them. You know what I mean? He's got the perfect attitude, and he's great as Superman, so I buy it.
All right, what's next?
Despite the fact that very little movement has been seen on the upcoming Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie in recent months, former star of the TV show Jason David Frank claimed in a recent interview that the movie will indeed be shooting this year. When asked about the film and if he will be involved in it, Frank said the following: "I emailed Saban and asked them kind of what you're asking me, but they do feel that I'm going to be a part of it because they feel there's no movie, at least without me. Whether it happens or it doesn't, I've been great to Lionsgate and I've been loyal to Saban. It's not like they owe me, but if I want to ask for a personal favor, I've invested into their emotional bank account. I feel like it's fair to have that withdrawal with them because I've done nothing but support them for the last 10 years, 20 years in fact. So when that happens, I don't need to cash in any favors. I believe it's going to happen anyway, but when it does, I'll keep my fans involved. But I will tell you, it is being filmed this year. I know that for a fact. It's going to be great when it is." Mark, buy or sell Frank's comments?
I'm gonna sell the comments. The term emotional bank account sounds like something my girlfriend's gonna bring up in an argument. I'm gonna lose.
You're an overdraft.
I think this dude's great at martial arts, and he was fantastic, I'm sure, as the Green Ranger. But you need to see the Green Ranger in the film. You don't need to necessarily see him. So I think that it'd be nice for the fans of the TV show if they could bring a couple of them back. If Amy Jo Johnson's on board, or this guy's on board, yeah, let's have some of them come back. But I'm selling the fact that you need anybody from the TV show in this movie. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, when they're in the suits, that's what sells this movie. It's not the actors.
Yeah, I gotta sell the comments, and to be honest with me, I think these comments are kind of sad. I mean, when he's talking about, like, this is sound like a guy who desperately wants in. It's like, and first of all, Saban is not the ones. They're not going to be making the decision about who's in this movie and who's not. It's going to be Lionsgate who makes those decisions. So you can say, yeah, I'm not. Saban doesn't feel you can make a movie without me. I'm not going to say they owe me, but I've been very loyal to them for 20 years. So I got this. It's sad. It sounds desperate. And look, I've been against the idea of a Power Rangers movie. Look, the last Power Rangers movie that was on the big screen made less than $9 million worldwide. It was a flop. But I've been warming up to the idea, there's a lot of people tweet me and stuff like that, about the idea, hey, what about a reimagined Power Rangers? Okay, there's some possibility. There are some very cool things you could do with the core mythos of what the Power Rangers are, but reimagined and done for a more modern way. I do not believe the right way forward is to be looking backwards and say, oh, let's get the girl who played the Pink Ranger. Let's get the guy who played the Green Ranger. Nah, because last time you had, like throwbacks to the TV show, you made $9 million at the worldwide box office. Move forward, and yeah, like I said, I just feel kind of sad reading the dude's comments. Anyway, Schnepp, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to sell his comments, but a lot of the Power Rangers, they all go to these conventions together and do these signings, and man, they just make bank. So maybe that's what he's talking about, emotional bank account. He's just making money from being the Green Power Ranger, and he has tons of fans who adore him. He does tons of conventions with all the other Power Rangers, and they go as a team. So they've been traveling around as a team for like the last 15 years. So I think that's kind of what he's talking about, is like, I've put a lot of time into supporting the Power Rangers. I sell that he's going to be in the film is what I'm selling. I don't think none of the original Power Rangers are going to be in it. And if they are, it would just be a nod of the, tip of the hat, or like, hey, in a car or something. Even then, that would be kind of cheesy. I'm with you. I'm looking forward to like a reimagining of the Power Rangers. I don't think they're going to go back to the spandex.
It feels like this is something that Henry Cavill wants to avoid, right? Doesn't it? I mean, it's like this, because you can see your career going down a path, and it's like, oh, this could happen like this. So I want to be Superman, and I'm going to be happy. Ben Affleck, you take all the screen time you want, man. Just let me put on the suit too.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, we're also going to save a minute or two at the end of the show to take some of your live questions. So if you're watching us live, tweet in right now to @AMC Movie News, and Ashley will pick a couple out. But for right now, let's get to the mailbag questions. Ashley, what do we got?
Anton Ekman writes, "Hello AMC, I have been watching your videos for a while now and have enjoyed them. My question is about Kickstarter.com and movies that use Kickstarter to make their movies. Two examples of movies being made with the help of Kickstarter is Veronica Mars and Wish I Was Here, that was made by Zach Braff Scrubs. I have nothing against it, but I wanted to hear what you think about it. Bye, smiley face. P.S. Both of these movies did terrible at the box office."
Yeah, actually, it's funny. It was almost 2 years ago that we're like, just give another 6 or 7 weeks, and it'll be 2 years ago that actually Schnepp and I discussed this very, very topic. Here's my feeling, and my feelings have not changed in 2 years. Here's my feeling on this. I think Kickstarter is a magnificent creation. to help content creators, independent content creators, who have a vision for things, who can't find a traditional way of getting their projects done, to bring it to life. And a great example of that is this little movie called The Death of Superman Lives What Happened, created by a guy sitting at the table with me, John Schnepp. And I've had other friends who've had little creations they want, these invention ideas, and they make them, and then they come to life and all that kind of stuff. That's great. I do then and I now have a big philosophical problem, though, of multimillionaires going to Kickstarter and asking people to cover their financial risks for them. I have a problem with studios that own copyrights who are worth billions of dollars going to fans and saying, hey, we don't want to assume any financial risk in this. Can you give us the money to it? And remember, this Kickstarter is not an investment. It's not like if you contribute to the Kickstarter and the Kickstarter blows up that you're going to make money off it. No. You're just given the money, and maybe you'll get some swag or whatever back, but you are assuming the financial risk of people there. And I think that's awesome for independent content creators like a John Schnepp or some creators and stuff like that who don't have other avenues to get these things done. But when you're millionaires, because people are only going to donate so much money. And I'm sorry, but if Death of Superman Lives is coming out at the same time on Kickstarter as the Veronica Mars movie is coming out on Kickstarter, well then I want the people I know, if they're going to donate $30, I want them to donate it to the guy, John Schnepp in this case, who this movie can't get made any other way. I want the money going there. I don't want money going to multimillionaires. So anyway, that's my feeling on it. I know others have some very strong opinion. Oddly enough, you have the opposite opinion. So Schnepp, why don't you remind us about your thoughts on this?
You know what? It's funny because over the last few years, just to let everyone know, since this just got brought up, I can announce for the first time, it's coming out May 1st. I decided to go head-to-head with Avengers Age of Ultron.
Yes.
The Death of Superman Lives What Happened is being released May 1st this year.
Now, my phone, you might have heard my phone buzz. That's Kevin Feige now calling me saying, what the hell, Campy? Why are you opening this against us?
I didn't want to.
This is going to severely hurt their box office.
Totally didn't want to hurt their box office, but I decided to go into Marvel.
And there's going to be an Aunt May teaser attached to it. So
We're working on it. It's going on. But to be serious, I am serious. May 1st is the release date for Death Superman Lives. So y'all can stop hounding me on Twitter. I've announced it, May 1st. And as far as all these other films asking for money, the millionaires and bigger and companies that actually own the copyrights to films getting fans to pay for it, I'm of the mindset that if you ask for it and it gets paid for, then it should get made. I'm not against Zach Braff saying, look, I made this first movie. I want to make a sequel. I'm incredibly rich, but I would like you to help me pay for it so I don't spend my own personal money on it. And people do give him millions of dollars, then more power to him. I'm not against, if you don't want to contribute to Zach Braff making his second film, you don't have to give Kickstarter your money. That's how I feel about it. Is it wrong? I'm not going to judge whether it's wrong or right. The same thing with Veronica Mars. All those fans of Veronica Mars wanted to see a Veronica Mars something, a movie, another couple episodes, whatever it was, and they got it. Without Kickstarter, that would have never happened. The same thing with my smaller film. Wasn't asking for millions. It's a totally different thing. But I got what I needed to make the film. I'm almost done with the film. And thanks to Kickstarter, I got the chance because this was a film that no one thought I didn't even think, hey, I don't even know if anyone wants to see this film. And then it got this kind of love from all the people on Kickstarter. So I think the chance to be able to make something creative and have that kind of creative freedom, it's great. I love Kickstarter for allowing you to be able to reach all these different people. And then those people, it's on them. The onus is on them. And yeah, they're not making money off of something. Like Veronica Mars came out, it was a box office bomb. The Zach Braff thing came out, that was a box office bomb. But all those people who put in money, they got the video or they got like some signed script or something from the fan base. They got what they wanted out of it. So I think it's a fair trade. I'd like to see more of that happen, and that's why I supported both of those Kickstarters too. Not even that I was a big fan of the Zach Braff thing, but I just want to support that model of making films. It's a different kind of film distribution. So I just wanted to see how that works.
And real quick, it does feel a little nefarious when you talk about how studios don't want to assume the risk and they would rather have the Kickstarter. That's when it starts to get murky to me. However, it seems like they use good business sense when you're talking about Zach Braff's film or the Veronica Mars movie because, like the writer said, they didn't do well at the box office. It was a risk, and it proves that they had some sort of financial vision that we can't pay for this because we don't want to lose money. Right. And I think that nobody's holding a gun to your head to donate to anybody's Kickstarter, and I think that it's a cooler thing when it is somebody like Schnepp who's making an independent film, or it's me, God forbid I ever have a dream one of these days. And I think that's why it was invented, but I have no problem with Zach Braff being able to use it as well.
All right, what's next?
Eamon Hughes writes, I am from Dublin in Ireland, and it is annoying when movies are released earlier in America or any other country. I understand limited releases, such as the release of Birdman had, but sometimes even the blockbuster films can be released weeks ahead in other countries than over here in Ireland. Why is this? I think it would be more beneficial to release it all on the same day. Distributing may be more difficult, but I think it would reduce the pirating of films as well. If a film isn't out in cinema, but it's available online, I think more people are tempted. Personally, I will support films when I can. I stopped myself from downloading Whiplash and saw it in cinema instead, but other films that haven't been released yet in my area will probably be watched online instantly rather than having to wait another month or two until it finally releases.
Yeah, well, I've actually been saying for years there should be a uniform release date internationally. I think if you say that piracy is actually a real problem, and I don't think piracy is as big of a problem as the industry makes it out to be, I really don't. But if it is any type of a problem, well, part of that's going to be the fact that you release a movie here, and in China they can't watch it for 3 months, but it's already released, and if they're hearing about how everybody's loving it, you're just baiting the carrot in front of the pony, man, and they're going to reach out and grab it. But beyond that, I mean, I get it. There are some weekends that, hey, if we release this in Ireland on this weekend, it may do better than if we release it on the same weekend we're releasing it everywhere else. I get all that, and there's very good reasons behind it. Hey, look, if you can make $400,000 extra by releasing on weekend one instead of weekend two, hey, $400,000 is still $400,000. It doesn't matter if you're a billion-dollar company. I get it, but I have been a big proponent of a universal release date for major films. I think that should still be the case. But this whole issue of fairness, I don't buy into that. I don't buy into the idea of it's not fair that the U.S. gets it and Ireland does it. You're not owed anything. It's just the same way that, what Marvel film did they release somewhere else?
Captain America.
Yeah, Captain America got released elsewhere before it got made in the States. It's not fair. Well, of course it's fair. It's their movie. Release it anywhere. We're not owed anything. So I don't buy into the fairness argument, but I do think there should be a universal release date.
And I think Age of Ultron is being released elsewhere before it comes out here, actually.
Yeah,
I think they get it a couple weeks ahead of time. So there you go. I think that I understand when it comes to a film opening in America on like 4th of July weekend, which is something that we don't all celebrate, around the world. I think that that's specific to us, and that's a big weekend for us. Maybe you get a day off work, so that's when studios release it here. So if there is a weekend in Ireland that's comparable, but it's a couple weeks or a month down the road, maybe that's when they want to release the big movie there. But overall, I think it'd be neat if it came out everywhere the same exact time, because the way that social media has connected fans. Yes. I mean, look, he's writing in from Ireland to a show that's in America. So let's all be able to talk about these things together, as opposed to be like, oh, no, there are spoilers, so we can't talk about what happened in this for another month until the rest of the world gets to see it. Let's all see it at the same time.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I think there should be a universal release date where everyone on the globe gets to see Avengers Age of Ultron, because Slappy in Ireland is going to be drinking a Guinness watching Avengers Age of Ultron a week before we get to see it. So there you go.
All right, folks, so I said we'd leave a couple minutes. We're going to take time for 2 quick questions from Twitter. So, Ashley, what have you picked out?
Tim Turvo writes, if it were possible to go back in time to award Leonardo DiCaprio an Oscar, which role would you award it for?
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Nice.
Is the one he probably should have got for Best Supporting, yeah.
I would I'd lean towards The Aviator, but I'm trying to think of who else was nominated that year.
That's always the catch, isn't it?
He was so good. It's the competition. It's that The Aviator would have won in a lot of years, but I think that was a really stacked year. So a lot like what we're going to see with this Oscar. So I'll say The Aviator, and he should have won a Golden Globe for his performance on Growing Pains.
Which one would you pick?
Fumbler's Corner. No, The Beach. I don't know. I don't know. Titanic. Give it to him. That's what I'd say.
All right, what's next?
Srikar writes, what would you say is the strangest movie you have ever seen?
Oh, the strangest movie I've ever seen. This seems like a question that's in your wheelhouse.
You watch a lot of weird stuff.
Oh, boy. Meet the
I'll kick in. This also happens to be my favorite kung fu film of all time. It's Shaolin versus Lama. It's a kung fu film. It is the weirdest kung fu film you've ever seen too. But me and my buddies used to watch it in our house. Like we would pop in. We had it on VHS, and we would rent it for like 3 or 4 months at a time, and we would watch it every single day. It's on YouTube right now. I actually posted on my Facebook page a few weeks ago, but it is so strange yet so awesome and hilarious. So I will say Shaolin versus Lama.
Here's a couple. Hausu. It's called House, but it's a Japanese film. It's incredibly strange and surreal. Hausu. Hausu.
I'll also say, I think a strange movie that I enjoy very much is Pink Floyd's The Wall. There's a lot of weird stuff going on in there that I kind of dig. There's a strange movie that I didn't like so much called Boonraku that came out recently that I just didn't get whatsoever. And if you like strange movies that just you wonder why they got made, watch Planet of the Dinosaurs. Do yourselves a favor and Google Planet of the Dinosaurs. You will not regret it.
Sean Connery in Zardoz. Check that out.
What's that other Sean Connery space movie? He was like on the moon or something. There's a Sean Connery movie where it's like some. I can't wait.
On the moon.
Yeah, everybody in the chat board. I'll see it afterwards because we're on like a one-man delay.
Fire up a Kickstarter. I will pay to see that.
Sean
Connery on the moon.
Sean Connery sci-fi film. Just jump that in and put that in the chat board. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing in AMC theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and of course your movie ticket information. If you like Instagram? Follow us on Instagram. Just find us on Instagram at AMC Movie News. And listen, guys, if you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find a link to our podcast feed. Make sure you click the thumbs up button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share this video on Twitter and on Facebook everywhere. I want to thank the guys sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting right here, Mr. Mark Ellis. Mark, where can people find you online?
Musings on Twitter and pictures on Instagram at 5150 Ellis. And this weekend, I'm making my debut in Portland. I'll be at Helium Comedy Club in Portland, Oregon, Thursday through Saturday.
And thank you, chat board. The name of the movie is Outland. Thank you so much for digging that up.
That was a great one. Yeah, I totally made it
Outland.
up. I kept seeing him in a spacesuit, but he was more like a sheriff.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of weird. Of course, Mr. John Schnepp, Mr. May 1st himself. Schnepp, where can the killer of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Right.
Schnepp, where can people find you online?
Sorry, Whedon, just had to do it. I keep thinking like Jodorowsky's Holy Mountain. You got me on weird movies. I'm like, I could go on for a couple hours. You can find me at TDOSLWH and at John Schnepp on Twitter and Instagram. May 1st, The Death of Superman Lives. What happened?
And of course, our lovely host name is Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you?
Twitter, Instagram at Ashley Mova. Happy Tuesday, guys.
And you can find me on the various social media networks just at John Campia. Thanks for joining us, guys. My name is John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.